Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Fraser. Welcome to the Hair Stories Project, episode 5, our first conversation with a couple, the Ducoste, Dawn and Joel Ducoste. Before I introduce them, I want to just take 5 minutes of your time to play an introductory video so you get a fuller understanding of what the Hair Stories Project is all about, why I started it, and what I hope to achieve by having these conversations. If you have any trouble viewing, please let me know. Okay.
Remember that scene in How to Get Away with Murder where Viola Davis was just broken?
Can everyone hear okay? Well, if Dawn, if you and Joel can hear, I'm assuming everyone else can.
Yes.
Great.
And she walks into her bedroom. Her mom, who's played by Cicely Tyson, is sitting on her bed. And Viola starts to slowly take off her wig and remove all of her makeup. She walks over and sits at her mother's feet. And her mother lovingly starts to scratch her scalp and console her. That was a huge moment for Black women. Remember, we just saw vulnerability and intimacy and love between two women in a way that is very common within our community, but to see it on the big screen during prime time was just unbelievable. Whether you were a big fan of the show or not, you heard about it. It spread like wildfire. People were calling it the blackest moment on TV. And we felt connected to it in what I think is a wholly unique and fascinating way. Our hair, the hair of Black women, deeply connects us. It connects us across generations, across language, across borders. Anywhere that we exist in the world, we are connected through our hair. And I've wanted to scratch at that, pun intended, to create a deliberate space where we can share our experiences, all the things that we've learned, and all the ways that we have felt as it relates to our hair, whether it's feeling vulnerable or humiliated or loved or seen or powerful. Recently, I did a big DIY project and redid my closet. And I found all these old photographs, the actual ones that you can hold in your hand. And I realized that many of them contained my hair stories. One of them that was particularly humiliating is something that happened to me in my early 20s. I was fired from a job because I was wearing braids. I was taken to HR. The HR person told me that my braids were unprofessional. She learned about braids from the movie 10 with Bo Derek running on the beach. She actually said that to me. I learned about braids from my ancestors, from Jet Magazine, from Ebony Magazine, and from all the fly women I saw growing up in my Brooklyn neighborhood. So, yep, I got fired. I sued them and I won the lawsuit, but I was really humiliated to have to go through that as a young woman. Another of my hair stories was a very powerful one. It was my lock story. My routine for grooming my locks was usually reading my Bible in my big closet, in my big house, wearing my big diamond ring, and asking God for direction in how to deal with my big cheating husband. Within a year after that, I moved my victorious locked self with my 3 children from New Jersey to North Carolina, and we thrived in this new place that God had prepared for us. I believe that an ever-growing connection of stories like these, your stories, has the potential and the power to create new connections, new knowledge, and new opportunities for us. Think about what we did in the natural hair care movement and all the ways that we've been innovating around our hair, whether the hair is grown or bought, does not matter. We Black women created an entire industry, an entire movement, an entire economy around natural hair care. We did that one YouTube video at a time. We needed to. No one was doing it for us. We needed to connect. We needed to learn from each other, and we did it. Hair Stories will be an extensive compilation of interviews, written narratives, and audio recordings that capture the personal experiences of Black women centered around our hair. My name is Angela Fraser. I am the founder and CEO of Rhythm Wigs, and I invite you to share your stories at rhythmwigs.com and join me in creating this new space together.
Okay, so that's what this is about. It's about collecting our stories. And so I'll tell you what happened with what led me to invite Dawn and Joel to have this conversation with me. I'm into hair. I always notice hair. And I noticed first Dawn making some pretty bold hair moves. Nothing to talk with her about or anything like that. But when Joel started to change his hair, as a matter of fact, it was one of my children, I think it was Isaiah, who called me. He's always FaceTiming now. They went from text to FaceTime. All the kids are FaceTiming, even when you're not ready for them to FaceTime. So, Mom, did you see Mr. Joel's hair? And it went from there. So with that, I'd love to introduce Joel and Don Dukas. They are two of my most favorite people in the world. We met almost 20 years ago when I moved to North Carolina. They were one of the few Black families in our neighborhood. They've now moved and deserted me, but we're not too far from each other. Our children were around the same ages and we became fast friends. I recently, a few days ago, learned that they both met as mechanical engineering students at RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Mm-hmm. I studied mechanical engineering at Penn and I had no idea. I've always known Don. Don is the lawyer and Joel is the professor, engineering professor. I had no idea. And so, we can always learn more about each other. And I have, so I've been a fan of them for a long time, and I'm so happy that they agreed to do this. Dawn shared with me that she felt like she was a celebrity, but she has no idea that she's always been a celebrity to me. So, Dawn, did you want to say something?
Some people are texting me saying that they're trying to get in.
Okay, I'm gonna admit all. Thank you. All right, sorry to keep you waiting. I didn't realize I had to admit once we started, but they should all be on now. If you could just let them know. They should be together now. So I want to introduce you to them, and I want to introduce you to the hair stories that are gonna emerge. We met briefly before this recording, and I kind of probed around a little bit to see what stories might come up. One very interesting one, we're going to leave that for the end. Some of you may know because of what I've been posting, but we're going to leave that interesting answer that I'm hoping Joel will share. I told him to wait. I didn't want to hear the answer until this recording, so I don't even know what the answer is, but we're going to kind of do that at the end. But I always start the hair stories interviews with asking about your roots. I have puns, that's just That's just what I do. Alliteration and puns. So what are your roots? Like, where are you from? What's your background? And, who are the people that you come from? Who are your ancestors? Either of you can start.
All right, I'll start. My roots, I was born in St. Louis. I definitely have a root there. And I was raised in St. Louis, but I kind of feel like my roots are in Mississippi because that's where both of my parents are from. That's where I would spend summers. That's where my parents live now. And I feel, way more connected to Mississippi than I do to St. Louis. I grew up there. I went to, since fourth grade, private white schools, all the way up until, and through college as well. And then that's where I met Joel. And after we graduated, we went to Cincinnati. We went to Cincinnati. We lived there a couple of years, and then that's when we got married. We both, within 3 months, we quit our jobs. We got married, and then we moved to another city. We moved to Illinois, where we were going to go to graduate school. So that's where we were until we graduated. And then we moved to DC for a little bit, a couple years, and then here. And we've been here ever since for over 20 years.
Wow. Awesome. And you, Joel?
Sure. So I was born in Haiti. So I'm Haitian descent. And I became a naturalized citizen once my mother and father became American citizens. Moved to New York City. So I was raised in New York City, went to parochial school. My mom is a devout Catholic. So I was raised in the Catholic faith since, first grade all the way through 12th grade. I would say I probably indoctrinated my parents to US way of things and all of that, but everything in my household was more of the traditional Caribbean and, the expectations and things like that, that both my parents instilled. And then, of course, the rest, I think Dawn said eloquently about the rest travel. We met at RPI and all those other places. Our first child was born in Illinois. Second one was next in Virginia, and then the last one was North Carolina. So
wow.
Basically all the 3 places that we stayed a long time.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So a part of what I'm interested in is because our hair is such a unique part of being from Africa originally. I'm always interested in the different cultures that emerge around hair across the diaspora. I'm from Jamaica, and so I'm always curious, having grown up in Jamaica and in the United States, what the different hair rituals are in different parts of the world. I have a friend in Uganda, and she talked about some of the rituals that she had growing up in Uganda, and they're quite different than what I know. If you guys are interested, there are some links in the chat. Let me make sure I hit enter on those. There are some links in the chat. You can have access to the video that I just showed. We do have a YouTube channel if you go to Angela Fraser, and so all of the episodes of the Hair Stories interviews are there, but there are also some other audio recordings, and there are a few of them with my friend, and you'll hear some of the stories coming out of Uganda. So I'm curious about some of the hair rituals that you had, Dawn, and then Joel, I don't know to the extent that you were even paying attention. You may have had your own, actually, but you may want to share some that you saw from the women in your family and things like that. So, Dawn, any particular hair rituals that you had growing up?
Well, the one that comes to mind, I thought of from the clip that you showed of the TV show, is just getting my hair done by my mother, when I was young, sitting between her legs, while she's on the couch and I'm on the floor and her doing my hair, and then me doing the same thing for my girls. That was always, it was a very different ritual, those two instances, because when I was getting my hair done, I love to get my hair done. I like to have it done. And my mother was a very good stylist and, made my hair look really cute, but I didn't like the process because it hurt. And she used to always tell me I was tender-headed. And it just would hurt. I would feel knuckles in my head and I just couldn't wait for it to be over. I was happy when it was over. I liked the result, but I didn't like the process. So with my girls, it was the same thing, them sitting on the floor while I'm on the couch doing their hair. And I tried, because I remembered it being so unpleasant, to make it more pleasant. And I don't remember them complaining too much about it hurting while we did it. And at the end of every, after I would comb their hair, I would always kiss the top of their head.
Oh, to make the boo-boo go away, huh?
I didn't think about it like that, but I would always kiss the top of their head because I just felt happy.
That's awesome. Yeah, they say that beginnings and endings are really significant and not what goes on in between. So I think that you capping it off with that kiss made everything that happened in the middle go away. So that was
maybe that's what I needed when I was young. If I had gotten a kiss afterwards. Yeah.
Awesome. Joel, it looks like you were thinking of some. Yes, no?
Well, I guess growing up, if it was for the male side, it would be the barbershop. So the shows that talk about the discussions that happen in the barbershop, I do remember that, but this would be a Haitian barbershop. And so when I would go there, my father would be talking to friends of his or people about different topics that I cared nothing about, waiting to get the haircut and getting out of there. And but I do remember that. But the one thing I do remember in that process, probably because I was a little bit overweight kid, young, so I like to eat. So one thing that I remember was a special treat going to this Haitian barbershop was Haitian pâtés. And I enjoyed them, and I still enjoy them to this day. Every time I go up to New York, and my mom, she'd always get the frozen pâté, and we'd have to have some. But I remember as a treat leaving, they would sell hot, fresh Haitian pâté at this barbershop. And I can remember
at the barbershop.
At the barbershop. Now they would get it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
They would bring it there.
I get that.
And then they would offer that if you wanted to buy one there. And I remember it's like, okay, I'm only tolerating this because I know I'm going to get a Haitian pâté out the process. So I do remember that as a memory from growing up and getting haircut at the barbershop and remembering. I still remember the location, and I think it's still there today, but I'm not quite sure about that.
Was this in Brooklyn?
No, this is in Queens,
Queens,
Jamaica, Queens.
Little Jamaica.
Yeah. 169th Street. I remember. I mean, I can visually remember the way to get there and all of that. It's hardwired. If I got in a car today, I can get there. So.
That's awesome. I have some pictures that I'm going to show the audience. I think Molly's trying to get in. Oh, no, it's your mom. Awesome. I have some pictures that I want to show because it is, to me, it's just remarkable the changes that that I see. So let me pull those up. But I want to start here. Okay, can you guys see okay?
Yes.
All right, so. So Dawn and Joel just celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary. And if you notice, it's so cute. They have a few pictures where they recreated the different poses that they had at their wedding. So this one here, and this one, I assume you guys were in the same place?
Yeah, we went back to Cincinnati for our 30th anniversary, and our reception was on a riverboat cruise on the Ohio River. And so we went a few weeks ago on a riverboat cruise in Cincinnati.
That's so cute. I love that. Love that. And notice the hair, guys. I just this is what I noticed. And,
Yeah, I had a on the top. So yeah.
what's that?
I said I had a little bit on the top. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit more than usual. I'm gonna show folks how I'm used to seeing you. This was early 2020, the Joel that, before we go there, you got to spend a little while talking about your three beautiful children. And if Molly, Lauren, and Alex are on the call, these are the pictures that I have up in my house. They're always visible to me. And I know they are probably 2 or 3 years old, but this is how I still see you. So Joel, give us an update on what Molly, Lauren, and Alex are doing.
Well, our oldest one, Molly, is living in Philadelphia. She is a doctoral student studying criminology, criminal justice at Temple University. I think she has completed 4 years. She's but dissertation, if I think that's where she is now. And she's also an accomplished violinist, doing jazz violin, and very successful on that side and getting all these gigs. She's always saying, got a gig this evening, or playing for a wedding party or this kind of thing, or an entrepreneur, clearly, and doing well in Philadelphia.
You know what, Joel?
Lauren,
if I could just, if you don't mind, I'd love to put a link to Molly's, any way for folks to get in touch with Molly. Her playing is beautiful and soulful, and she's been a beast on the violin since, for how old was she when she started?
Dawn started her at 3 years old, I think.
It's 4. She was 4.
4.
Amazing. So I'm sorry, continue.
Hey, Ange, I'm going to jump in because I remember sitting in your kitchen of the thousands of times, and Molly's picture is on the bulletin board, and you and I had a discussion about her and her violin playing. Of course, now I see who her parents are, but I think even at the time you sent me to some website to hear her playing and told me about a concert that you went to hear her play. And so full circle.
There we go. I'm a fan.
So our second one, Lauren, she lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's a graduate of UNC Charlotte, and she studied biology and did very well. And while she was in undergrad, she took the initiative and brought a chapter of mentoring for kids, if I remember the college mentors for kids. She's very much somebody who's about service to others, particularly young people. And so she started that chapter, became president of that chapter. She impressed the organization so much that they said, we'd like you to be one of our directors for the program. And she now worked for, mentoring for, say it again, I'm sorry. College for Mentors. Yeah, I know she's going to kill me for not remembering. But she's doing very well, trailblazing and demonstrating how to do the next generation of stuff to reach young people and make them successful. So that's what she's doing in Charlotte. And our youngest is Alex. He is a rising junior at North Carolina Central University in Durham. He is majoring in mass communications. His goals were to use that to be a sports journalist. either the writing or probably on the radio. He's a character, so I can't imagine that he wouldn't do anything but try to be on the radio or you know, on the web, some kind of things. But that's his goal, and he's doing well.
And Alex is an Eagle Scout.
And Alex, accomplished Eagle Scout, absolutely, which is a great accomplishment. There's not too many, and the scouting troop that he's from, which is out of Watts Chapel, troop 253. If Alex is there, he can correct me. Is an African-American troop that has, I mean, everybody who moves up there, they become Eagle Scouts, and I believe they have 27 or 28 Eagle Scouts to date.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we all celebrate when our children, whether we birth them or not, do well. And so I just want to acknowledge what your accomplishments as parents, but we're all clapping and celebrating for Molly, Lauren, and Alex. That's what Black folks do. We like to hear about other people's kids. Okay, so let me move on and share
Oh, wow.
some of Dawn's hair journey. So Dawn, tell me about her, what she's thinking about, what's, you know, the hair, was it something that you always did? Tell me the story of how this hairstyle became the hairstyle that you chose for this picture.
Well, that young lady thinks she is cute. So cute with that hairstyle. She loves those beads. She loves shaking her beads like this and having them click and people hear it when she walks down the hall. She's happy. She's feeling good, even though it was painful to get to that point.
There's that.
But it was worth it. It was worth it though, because she looks good.
Awesome, she does.
She's about 12 maybe. The one below is, she thinks she looks good too, but she's not too happy because her hair is puffed out. So it must have been some moisture around, because she would have wanted it straighter. You know, she's going for kind of a natural look, but you know, I don't even think I had a perm there, but I definitely, you know, with a straightening comb or something like that. And then it kind of puffed out, but she looks good too.
She does.
The one above that's many years later. That is a lot of iterations kind of went between those two. And that's all natural hair. That was after years and years of perm, when I decided I did not want a perm anymore. And I actually cut all the perm off and had a very short afro for a while. And then it started to grow, and I started to, you know, try to learn how to work with it.
Can you tell us what led to that decision to stop getting your hair relaxed?
Well, I got it. It was growth. It was really just growth in me, because before that, all those relaxing, you would think it would make it easier to do your hair, but to me, it really didn't make it any easier to do your hair. It just, you know, you were able to have it straight, and if you didn't get any moisture on it, you know, you could curl it and it would look more, you know, wavy, or straight and bouncy. And I like that. I wanted to blend in the corporate world. I thought that was the most appropriate, you know, hairstyle to have. And just over the years, and actually part of what changed my view of that was having my own daughters and doing their hair. And I just loved their hair. The hair was so beautiful. And as they got older and started to work with their own hair, they were doing things to their hair I never did to it, because I didn't even know how to do that. I wouldn't know how to do that. For example, Molly, the oldest one, she got locks. You know, she was, I think she's the first person in my family. I can't think of anybody, even in my extended family, who's ever had locks before.
I remember when Molly called me and came over and asked me everything I could tell her about locks. And
I remember you loaned her this beautiful book.
yeah.
That was great. And I was so proud of her. I mean, I thought it was courageous.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, my feeling at the time that, wow, she's gonna really do that. That is what gave me courage to go natural, like you see in that picture.
Right.
I wasn't at the lock spot yet,
Yeah.
but I was, I can do this.
Yeah.
And they were encouraging to me, my kids were. And so I cut it all off. It was this short afro, and it just, gradually, grew out and got to that length. I'm pretty happy with that. She's pretty happy with the hair. She doesn't quite know what to do with it or the different types of things to do with it, at that time.
Okay.
And the last picture where I'm with Joel, now that's a very confident woman right there. That I have locks. I feel really good about my locks. I feel proud of my locks. When I'm walking around, I, kind of like the attitude of me when I had the beads in the hair. So it's kind of like I went a circle, right? I kind of lost it for a while, that confidence,
Right.
and then I gained it back.
Right.
Something in there to make it click though, so you can
You can put some cowrie shells on it or something.
Yeah, actually I have one. I just need to put them up.
Oh, okay. So Don, you talked about courage. Why is that the word that comes to mind when you saw what your daughters were doing and then what you
Because
did?
I never would have done it. I never would have had the courage to do that. I wouldn't have even had the courage to wear my hair, let alone locks, but just the natural look when I was in corporate America. I kind of like that person who fired you, I guess, didn't think it looked professional.
Yeah.
At that time. And so I was not enlightened. I just, I wanted to blend in. I didn't want to stand out or, have my hair be a statement or anything. I wanted it to kind of just be in the background and not an issue or, something, and not a topic of conversation.
Right.
Which is the total opposite of now. I mean, I just today, I was out and about running errands and 3 people stopped me to comment about my hair, this hairstyle today. And so I don't have a problem with being a topic of conversation or, anymore with my hair.
That's awesome. Great. Okay, Joel, it's your turn because you've run the gamut.
Look at that picture.
So the young pictures, I only had the young pictures of you when
I had an
in the
afro
couple. Yeah, you had a little cute little short afro. So let's start with what's the story? What's he thinking? What's the story around this?
Well, maybe even going back to the afro. Growing up, I had a self-image problem. If you haven't noticed, one of my ears has a mark, so it's pointy. I was very self-conscious of that growing up. So I used to grow an afro enough to cover my ears, and so that it would not be a topic of conversation with kids, because you know how kids are. They can be very, love to play around with whatever they can poke fun at, and that was a portion of that. So anyway, I've had an afro of some kind. I eventually got over that probably high school. Took about high school before I started to say, okay, I can have an afro. It doesn't have to go out so far to cover my ear. It's no big deal. And so I was able to go through that. Well, let's see. The bald, I would say, bald look actually came after the one below it with the tweed jacket, so to speak.
This is so professorial. Let me just tell you, Joe. You cannot, unless you had like the pad or whatever those.
Oh, that jacket does have the pad on it. I already got it. The only thing I'm missing from that image, but Dawn wants me to smoke it one day. She wants me to smoke a pipe. I smoke cigars, but she wants me to, she said she always liked the smell of a pipe. I haven't done that picture yet, but if somebody out there can commission an artist and I can sit in some chair with a pipe and my tweed jacket, happy to do that. So that we'll go with that. But anyway, that bald look, first time that I cut off all my hair, I think if I remember correctly, I was pissed off about something and my hair was bothering me. And I immediately went to the barber and said, just take the whole damn thing off. And then after that, I looked and then people started saying, you know, bald is in. I'm like, really? I did it because I was pissed off. I just needed to get everything on my hair. I just didn't want to scratch my hair. I just didn't want hair. So that's how that happened. Then after a while, and you know, people are just getting used to it and stuff. But I guess bald was in, so I timed it right, not with that objective in mind. So, the Afro look with the beard, actually, that's COVID. I'll be honest. Grew it out, never went to the barber, just kept letting it go. And I said, you know what, let me see where this goes. And I just let it keep going and going. And then the beard portion of it, you know, that one grew out quite a bit. I decided after a while it was starting to become a mess. And I just said, okay, I'm going to cut it back a little bit. So, but I like it. I've had goatee before. This is not the first time. And in fact, you know, women do a lot of stuff with their head hair. I had started doing a lot of stuff with my beard because I had the luxury that I could grow a beard. Dawn knew me with a beard oftentimes when I was younger in college. And then I would have a mustache only, sideburns, you know, maybe I could have been, who's that, the actor that played a detective that had the big burns on the side?
The cool cat, right?
Yeah, but I can't remember. And he drove
oh my gosh,
monster vehicle. Somebody out there.
I see. Anyway, yeah, with the almost like bell bottom.
Yeah. So I had sideburns. I had, you know, hair only at the bottom. So I did stuff with my facial hair more so than my head hair. So that was my thing back there. But yeah, that look there, that with the goatee and a lot of beautifully white hair that I have, which by the way, I've had a gray hair since I was born. I had one gray hair. So I always tell my mother, I mean, you stressed me since the very beginning. But you know, the point is that I've always had gray hair. I've never had not gray hair. That last image at the end, after I grew that much, I started looking, I said, you know, I can do something with this head. So I was thinking of twists, and which is what I'm wearing today, is twists. And then there, none of the girls, my daughters or my wife, were in town, and I probably didn't know what I was doing. So I went to a stylist, and I didn't know the difference between the different types of twists. I didn't know there was comb twist, foam twists, or comb curls. Well, little did I know I was getting comb curls. I had no idea what the heck. And I said, okay, that's fine. So that look unintentionally is my comb curl look, which I won't do again. I don't like that look. I'm okay with the twists. I think I'm good with that if I want to choose that as a style, but I'm not going to do that's how that happened.
So I can't help but wonder, so your professor, you know, you have your students are in front of the classroom, pre-COVID for sure. Any reaction to your hair that you noticed, or with your colleagues?
Well, the one with the white hair and the afro and the beard, I became the doppelganger for Cornel West. And everywhere I went, you know, people were doing a double take, thinking like, do we have a celebrity in the midst? You can ask Dawn. There was a person that said, yo, you look like Cornell, you know, Cornell. And I'm like, okay. So now I look like a distinguished professor, you know, already. And so adding Cornel West to my repertoire was
people also thought, people said he looked like Bob, the artist.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross,
Ross
yes.
Frederick Douglass.
Yeah,
Albert Einstein.
That's messed
I'm
up
like,
hair.
well, at least everybody that they said you look like is either very brilliant or very talented. So if you're going to be, compared to somebody like that,
You're
that's
good.
a good thing.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Okay, so I think that's it for this, for the pictures. I'm going to stop sharing. All right, let me make sure everyone is in. And if you guys have any questions, you can either put them in the chat. If you'd like, actually, you can go off mute, or you can ask me. I can take you off mute if you had any questions or comments for John Doe. John, that's your new name. Joel and Don, or of me. You can go ahead and unmute and ask.
I have a question.
Sure.
For Joel. When Dawn has changed her hair over the years, does she discuss it? Had she discussed it with you first? Or like, what had been your reaction to like seeing her in a different way?
No, I don't recall that she discussed it. She mentions that that's what she's going to do, but that's letting me know that's what she's going to do. Not obviously asking for permission.
It's a tell, not an ask.
Right.
Not the case.
And you're always okay with it?
Well, I know one question that they were to save to the end, but I'll let the cat.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the question of when she
flow.
decided to do the locks and stuff, I think initially I was like, really? Okay, but hesitant, right? Because I was used to her in all the other styles, which was perfectly fine, and she looks great in any style. So I was a little hesitant about the locks, but she proved me wrong. She looks great in any hairstyle. It doesn't really matter. But I will say initially I was like, okay. It's like, I'm not going to say don't do it, but I didn't know what she would look. Now with what you can do on the computer and put your styles in front of stuff on yourself, you can see yourself. I probably would have said, oh, okay, that looks good. I think Lauren put a wig of locks on my head, and that's when I said, that's not going to happen.
That doesn't count. Those lock wigs.
Well, yeah, I know the wig probably version is not appropriate. When I saw myself and it's like, that's one hairstyle
When I asked Dawn about this, she said that her grandmother taught her that don't ask questions that you don't want the answer to. And so she said she'd never asked Joel. So I was really interested in what Joel had to say. Good answer, Joel. Very good. Very good. Any answer would have been good because it would have been true. So Dawn, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think he evolved to like the locks. So even I didn't like them initially because you go through a stage where they don't look that great. The first 8 months or something like that. And so, but then when they really start locking, that's when I, started to enjoy it better. But I think that the moment he kind of said, I kind of like this, is when I came back from the salon with my hair looking like this. Because Joel is a huge sci-fi fan, and he loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
Princess
he immediately
Leia.
said,
Yeah.
I look like Princess Leia.
There we go.
And then he was okay with it. And I said, well, that's good because you look like Yoda. You're not short or green, but you are wise, you're a mentor, and you got pointy ears. So we are Princess Leia and Yoda.
And this is why they've been married for 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. Always seeing the good. That is so awesome. Well, that's the question that I had on my mind is how is Joel going to answer that? And I know that Dawn is not a ask first type of person anyway. So I wanted to, we're going to wrap. I think we're at 45 minutes. I wanted to give you an opportunity to share any projects that you're working on, anything that you wanted to advertise so folks could reach you. I see that Molly's information is in the chat. So guys, if you're interested, you should be interested in going to check out the music that Molly, she is producing, and she sings. Who knew? So this isn't the Molly show, I get that, but she's pretty amazing. So so that information is in the chat, and there's some other links in there too. So grab those before we close. If there are any other questions, you can take yourself off mute and ask. I thoroughly enjoyed spending time with you guys. It's been too long. I know I missed the last girls' night that we had. Dawn is usually the one, Dawn or Christine, trying to get us together. I missed the last one, but I'll be there next time. It's great to spend time with you. I'm just gonna look really quickly to make sure I'm not missing any questions.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Hey, Christine, how are you?
We have just, my husband and I have loved watching you all talk about this. We just never knew. That Yoda thing, I don't know. That's a bit much. I don't know. I guess the question I have for Joel, since we both work at the university, is, you know, I also was shocked when Joel did that with his hair. And I'm just wondering, you know, what, you know, we're kind of in COVID, but what did your colleagues say? I mean, did they say anything, or did they notice anything? Or
Well, many were, you know, respectful or whatever. They didn't say anything. When I had the big afro, most of this, oh, that looks good and stuff. It's almost like that was okay. When I had the comb curls or the twist, I haven't gotten any comments, if any, at all. So I think there are probably some, okay, yeah, let the soul brother do what he's gonna do.
He's got tenure, we can't mess with him.
right, that's right.
You know, so it's okay. But, you know, clearly if somebody were to step up and say, oh, that's it, but make a negative comment, I will snap back real quick, because I'm like saying,
Okay,
so how does that work in this world of, you know, academia and hairstyles? Because I've heard too much about that, and I tolerate that for sure. But Chris, yeah, to your question, I think the twists and any of the other kinds of style besides an afro and anything else, no comment so far. Now, my graduate students, they're all positive. I guess young people, it's like, hey, that's hip, that's all right. It's good to see, you know, a old elder state person, yeah, old. You know, try some young things and be, you know, a little bit maybe comfortable with their shell and not just be.
Yeah.
I did run it by Dawn and the girls about, hey, maybe I should try straightening my hair just to give it a shot. So I don't know if I know everybody is thinking, what's that politician from New York?
Come on.
Sharpton?
Yes.
Sharpton, yes, Sharpton.
People are thinking Sharpton type of thing. But hey, look,
another smart person.
You know.
So actually, you know, Joel, while you were talking, I thought of another question. So as an African-American male, this is politically incorrect, but I'm sure that Angela would love, because she loves the.
Thank you. And it's correct. I could tell.
It's correct.
Already.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So as an African-American male, and, you know, kind of this driving while black thing, and, you know, these other things, do you think that any of your hair styles that you've had, like the ones that Angela showed, do you think that one would put you in a different response if you were stopped, or if you were walking down the street in a neighborhood that people didn't expect you to be in? I'm just warning. Academia, you know, people do all kinds of things at the university, right? But I'm wondering, as an African-American male, is there one of the hairstyles that you think would be more something. And did you think about that when you were doing those hairstyles?
No, I did not. It was just me just trying something out new. My mom would say that I have midlife crisis, and she'll swear by it and thinks that it's horrible. But none of hair is hair. If you don't like the style, if I didn't like what I look, I can start over. It's not permanent. Right. It's never a mistake. It's an opportunity to see how it looks. Some hold, some you like, some you won't. But I did not think about that. Now, having said that, if I walk down the street, I think most people won't think I'm a professor in the first place. It don't really matter. So that's really just me to decide what it is. And, for others, I don't care what you think, frankly. But from the standpoint of what somebody off the street might associate me with, it's more of, well, you're an old man, rode hard, put away wet. But, it's one of those things that I don't really think about. Even the clothes that I choose, Don cringes sometimes. I say, you would really wear that? And, so I get these kind of comments and reminders, and sometimes I change and listen, and sometimes like, I'm too tired, I'm out of here. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Great question, Christine. Thank you.
I told Joe's mother, I said, well, if this is the worst thing he does in a midlife crisis, then I'm okay with it.
Better than a motorcycle, right?
Exactly. There's a lot worse things he could do.
Hey, Dawn, he comes home to his Princess Leia. So, hey.
That's right.
If anybody has a lightsaber, I'm ready to get one. So
oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, one more question if there is one. If not, I'm gonna bring it to a close. Going once, going twice. Thank you, Dawn and Joel. This was so much fun. I appreciate it. You are celebrities. You've always been celebrities. And I will send you a recording, and we're gonna put this on social media, and hopefully what I appreciate about this is that it's another part of the collection of our hair stories. And I think that the more that our voices are out there for folks to consume, the more we can impact others, people who look like us and people who don't. So I appreciate you opening up and being a part of this.
You are most welcome, and thank you for inviting us and for having this forum for everybody to learn from each other. It's been wonderful. I enjoy watching all your other episodes. I look forward to them.
Awesome.
This is great. I hope some other male contestants, I don't know, come to the show and just let it all hang out.
Let me tell you, you have some big shoes to fill, being the first, but you were amazing, and I thank you so much. Okay, guys, until next time, bye-bye.
See you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you all.